caps and worn out t-shirts. That's from Michael. Michael, you're making a very big mistake here. When the face caps are given to them and the t-shirts, they are not worn out. They actually, they look nice for their standard, that is. They actually look nice. But the problem is they wear that one t-shirt for the next 4 years. That's why when you see it later on, it looks very worn out. So the t-shirts and the face caps also did not improve their life. It didn't make them look smarter, maybe for a couple of weeks, but eventually, like you said, it wears out because they can't afford another t-shirt or face cap again. So nothing that they collect improves their lives. Actually, it doesn't. So it will be ridiculous of you to subject yourself to that, to voting because of oil and rice and face cap and t-shirt and gari and oil and seasoning cubes, or 2,000 naira, or maybe even 5,000 naira. It's not going to do anything for you. Well, it might feed you for a moment. It might make you look a little smart for a day or two. But after that, your life goes back to the same despicable way that it was before the most recent tranche of gari was introduced into your life. So why not try and see if you can vote for candidates that will ensure that you can have gari to eat all year round, that you can have rice to eat all year round, that you can have some nice t-shirts to wear all year round. How about that? Doesn't that make more sense to you? Doesn't that make more sense to you? Someone says, Dio, they give beans now. Oh, really? They give beans now also. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So, okay, if they give beans now, how about voting for candidates who will be able to put the right policies in place, implement these policies to ensure that you can afford beans all year round? How about that? That sounds good, doesn't it? You can make that happen if you vote wisely in these elections. Next month, the elections are here, February and March, for the presidency, governorship, National Assembly, State House of Assembly. Vote wisely so that you can afford to eat rice throughout the year, not just every 4 years. So you can eat gari throughout the year. So you can afford oil and seasoning cubes throughout the year. So you can wear nice t-shirts and face caps if you need to throughout the year. How about that? Think on it. Sila. Welcome again. So from now till 7 o'clock, discussions are on. You're very, very welcome to be a part of it. And let's see. Quick preview of what to expect on today's edition of the show. Let's see. I've got side comments coming up shortly, random stories and random thoughts that caught my attention. I would very much like to get your take on that. Not now, however. Much later on, after the major news at 6 p.m. Hopefully, you'll still be on the show at that time. Now, after my side comment, I have a rant coming up immediately, expressing my thoughts on one issue, and I'd like to get your take on mine all the way till 4 p.m. Now, before we go, business news coming up. Discussions continue right after that. Speaking of which, what exactly is it? Is it wrong to express opinions? Is it? Especially an opinion that may not be popular. Is it a bad idea? Here's a story from Premium Times. Peter Obi, 6 days after, 28,000 signed petitions seeking to nullify Brimo's Afrima nomination. Now, it's been a week since, this is from Premium Times, by the way. Now, it's been a week since famous Nigerian singer Olawale Ashimi, known as Brimo, subtly suggested that Igbos in Nigeria are not ripe for the presidency and took swipes at the supporters of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, the remarks having killed the wrath of the Igbos and Obi supporters. Now, a petition which began 6 days ago seeking to stop his nomination for the 2022 All Africa Music Award AFRIMA has garnered 28,000 signatures. Now, the goal is 35,000 signatures. The petition, started by one Charles Ogundele, accused the singer of putting up a series of hateful messages on Twitter toward the Igbo tribe of Nigeria, going as far as retweeting a tweet which said that all Igbos are senseless. Now, his actions sparked disunity and hatred in attention there, preventing him from winning the All Africa Music Award would send a strong message to him and people like him that he can't get away with such blatant ethnic bigotry. Although the petition was started by Ogundele, who does not seem to have any digital footprint, the first time it was shared on social media was by a Twitter user who goes by the name Uche with some handle. By the way, the singer Brimo was nominated in the 8th Afrima, which kicks off on Thursday in the Songwriter of the Year category. The song Furasara of his 9th album, A Song, earned him the nomination. So, let's talk about this, and what is and has become popularized in recent times as cancel culture. Cancel culture. That's what this is basically. Cancel culture. So a person expresses an opinion, and that opinion is not a popular one. No, it's not. And Brimo's tweets or Brimo's comments recently appear to not be popular. Maybe they're even wrong or perceived as being wrong. Emphasis on the word perceived as being wrong. And you may disagree or even prove that the statement of the person as expressed by Brimo, for example, in this case, is a wrong one. Maybe you can actually prove it's wrong. Maybe you can fact check it and determine what this person has said, maybe Brimo or some other person, is factually wrong. Should that person be cancelled? Does that mean that effort should be made to ensure that person does not make progress in life? Cancel culture. By the way, what is cancel culture? Cancel culture is rarely also known as call-out culture. It's a phrase contemporary to the late 2010s and early 2020s used to refer to a form of ostracism, which means to ostracize a person, or from ostracization, in which someone is thrust out of social or professional circles, whether it be online, on social media, or in person. Those subject to this ostracism are said to have been cancelled. Of course, the expression cancel culture has mostly negative connotations and is used in debates on free speech and censorship. So once again, the opinion might be unpopular, and maybe even in some cases, maybe even downright false. Should that mean that everything else about that person, everything about that person's life should be destroyed because the person has expressed an unpopular opinion? Should we cancel that person? Should we destroy them? Should we destroy their livelihood? Should we cancel them? I'd like to get your take on this. Let's discuss this in the 4 o'clock hour after the business news. What do you think? All right, we'll do that. That takes us to 5. The news update comes up at 5 p.m. Let's see what's up in the 5 o'clock hour. Are security agents safe? Are they safe? No, security agencies exist primarily, I believe, to keep the rest of us safe. But themselves, the security agents, are they safe? Here's a very sad story or development, also courtesy Premium Times. Bandits ambush Nigerian security personnel, kill 7. At least 7 officials of the NICDC were killed during an ambush by bandits in Kaduna State, President Buhari has said. The Nigerian leader expressed anguish at the incident, according to a statement by his spokesperson, Garba Shehu, on Thursday. President Buhari has expressed his anguish over the deaths of 7 personnel of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps who were ambushed and killed by bandits in Kaduna State while on official duty. President Buhari described the loss of the NSCDC personnel as a tragic event and salutes the courage of the men who gave their lives to the nation. Sad event, wish it never happened. And I hope the culprits, the perpetrators of this dastardly act, are apprehended and brought to book. I very much hope so. And deepest empathies to the families and loved ones of these slain security personnel. Not the first time we've had such incidents happen. A lot more in recent years, actually. A lot more cases of security personnel being ambushed or being killed are happening lately. And I couldn't help but wonder, I couldn't help but ask myself or think about if there is a relationship between security personnel and or agencies and civilians and the safety of security personnel. I could help but think about that. Yeah. But more on that shortly. Commercial break. I'll return in a bit. Please stay with us. Handfast continues shortly.
It's all talk and more talk on Nigerian's #1 talk station.
This country needs a marshal, needs a sheriff.
In some particular societies, especially in my tradition, a woman is not allowed to inherit land.
Issues that get your attention.
This thing has been a carryover for the time of Jonathan.
Yeah.
And they continue this billions.
Your views against all odds.
My word is that why those households, why are they not following up their job? Like
The intense conversation.
It has to be given to her now based on sentiment. These are some of the challenges that women go through on a daily basis.
Okay, bro.
And that is
All and more on Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
You are tuned in to 92.3 Nigeria Info.
And now, Hard Facts.
Hard Facts with Diode.
You're welcome back to Hard Facts to Nigeria Info, your #1 talk station. I'm Diode. 27 gone past 3 p.m. Discussions continue. And yes, on the 5 o'clock hour, or in the 5 o'clock hour today, the conversation: bandits ambush Nigerian security personnel, kill 7. Once again, tragic, unforgivable somewhat, and senseless, unbelievable, very sad. Should never have happened. But I can't help but ask the question, because incidents of security personnel in the country being attacked, being ambushed, being killed even here in Rivers State, appears to be increasing. Such cases appear to be on the rise, especially since some criminal elements took advantage of the NSAS protests nationwide, shortly before then and even after then as well. We've been getting a lot more cases or incidents of such events. And it got me thinking earlier today when I saw this story. Will better relations between security agencies and civilians provide improved safety for security agents? You know how that security agencies every now and then release statements by spokespersons or PPPROs, and they say that security is everyone's business, and that security agencies or their agents can't do their jobs successfully without cooperation from the civilian populace. So is it possible that even the safety of security agents depends on collaborative efforts, on a harmonious relationship, on synergy with the civilian populace? Will better relations between security agencies and civilians provide improved safety, not just for civilians, but even for security agents as well? We'll take a look at this in 5 o'clock. I'd like to get your take on that. And at 5:30, we've got headlines, major news up at 6 p.m., a review of all of these matters afterwards during the open season segment. Till about 7. The sports gang are in by 7 o'clock for extra time. And yes, they do what they do best, bring you all the updates what's happening in the world of sports, and how can we talk about what's happening in the world discussing the brilliance at his Arsenal Football Club. So expect a lot of that later on tonight. So we get things going now with today's side comments, random stories and random thoughts that caught my attention earlier on today as I checked out the news. A reminder that my side comments are not to be discussed now, by the way, much later on, during the open season segment. I will take your thoughts on that. State High Court in Port Harcourt has adjourned the criminal lawsuit against former Governor of Rivers State, Chibuike Amechi, APC governorship candidate Tony Cole, and former Commissioner for Power Augustine Wokocha to 19th January. Presiding Judge Justice Chiwendu Wogu adjourned the suit following the absence of the defendants in court. A suit filed by the Rivers State government is accusing Amechi of collaborating with Cole and Wokocha to sell some state assets, among other things, between 2007 and 2015. This is the court case of the century. Yeah, it will be interesting to see how this goes. Will be interested, but a fundamental question arises for me. Before I come to that fundamental question, I remember expressing some thoughts on this yesterday, that it's a good thing that the Rivers State government has gone to court. I perceive it's a good thing. Nobody, whether it's the former governor, current governor, previous governors, future governors, or any state official for that matter, no one should be able to make away or fraudulently appropriate to themselves state funds. It should never happen. And if anyone does that, the law should catch up with them. So we should have a lot more incidents like this if governments are convinced that officials, either previous or serving, have made away with state funds. They should go to court and let the law take its course. That's the right thing to do, by the way. Even though I wonder why it took all this while to do this, because this investigation reportedly took place, no, not reportedly, actually took place in the first few months, if not the first year or so of this administration. Why did we wait till now? But then again, better late than never. Better late than never. However, now the fundamental thing I was about to mention earlier on, I will still mention now, I sincerely hope that all of this is in the interest of the good people of Rivers State. I hope so. I hope that this court case right now, and this case of the century, once again, is in public interest. Because if it's not in public interest, it may not be. I didn't say it's not. I said if, operative word being if, conditional. If it's not in public interest, it may not be long before we hear that the State Attorney General has issued a nolli prosequi. That's indeed a nolli. And that the matter has been withdrawn. And we'll probably hear something like, in fact, very likely there will be no explanation for it. It will just be a special government announcement, if anyone even bothers to give an announcement, that the Rivers State Ministry of Justice, through the Attorney General, has decided to issue a nolli prosequi. Or, come to think about it, the Rivers State House of Assembly, might discover some law, or might come across some judgment of court which they had not read. The judgment may have come out 5 years ago, or 7 years ago, or 22 and a half years ago, and nobody bothered to read the content of that judgment. And suddenly, one honorable just walked into the chamber, and alas, lo and behold, the judgment was lying there. And the person read and said, "Oh, lo and behold, we have been acting in error. Alas, we must amend our ways." And decide that thenceforth, going forward, a nolli must be instituted, and thus they shall be let go. Well, just saying. I don't know that's how it's going to go. I'm just saying, if all of this is not in the interest of it's not for the public good, which I hope it is, by the way, and hopefully the courts will do a good job, and the judiciary will determine the guilt or otherwise of the persons who have been indicted in this matter. Doesn't matter who they are, by the way. So let's see, what else caught my attention earlier on today? Okay, so for my bulletin earlier on, I think no doubt there were a couple of issues that definitely struck me when I came across them earlier on today. Yeah. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has taken a swipe at the king of Igbo Ukpata, Eze Felix Otuwarekpo, saying his recent activities clearly mark him out to have pitched for a political interest. Governor Wike made the criticism at the flag-off of Obodi Ozochi Road and Bridge in Ahoda West local government area. He said the stool of Eze Felix Otuwarekpo was recognized by his administration and that he would not tolerate the situation in which it will be used to stage a political fight against the state government. Yes. So, will it be tolerated if, just asking the question, by the way, just asking the question, will it be tolerated if the stool were used to fight opposition? Just ask it. Would that be okay? Would it be okay if the stool is used to fight the others, not the PDP or not His Excellency, whether it's real or imagined, and if it's okay to use the stool to fight political enemies, real or imagined political enemies, why will it not be okay to use the stool to fight the current government, assuming there's a fight going on, by the way? Once again, just asking. My mind has a way of asking these questions. It can't help itself. It's like my mind has a mind of its own. I try to stop it, but it just does its own thing sometimes, or many times actually. And still with what happened in Ahoda, I came across a story earlier on today. Where is that? I think it's here somewhere. Oh yeah, this is from the cable. A woman in difficult labor gave birth. Sorry, just a moment. Woman in difficult labor gave birth after calling your name. Lawmaker tells Wike. Cutsy the cable. Let's check out the story. Edison. Just a moment. Pardon me. A bit of a technical issue here. So Edison here, Deputy Speaker of the Rivers House of Assembly, says a woman who was experiencing difficult labor gave birth after calling the name Nyesom Wike, the governor of the state. Here represents Ahoda East 2 constituency in the assembly. Now, speaking on Wednesday at the flag-off of the construction of Obodi Ozochi Road, he said the woman had difficulty giving birth, but at the call of God of Wike, she delivered a baby boy. It's a miracle. This is a miracle. This is a miracle, and miracles should be celebrated. But in case you're wondering exactly what was said or how this was presented, let's take a listen. There's a video circulating online, but for you, we've got the audio. Let's take a listen.
As at yesterday night, there was a lady on labor. The lady tried, he couldn't put to bed. They had already prepared the theater for her to be operated this morning.
Exactly. She could not put to bed. The lady could not put to bed. The theater was set. Everything was set. But the lady could not put to bed.
But in terms of the nurses hearing that you're coming to Ahoda today.
After it was heard that His Excellency was going to Ahoda on the said day,
they were discussing.
People were discussing it everywhere.
And say, our deputy governor is coming to Ahoda today. This man likes Ahoda people.
His Excellency is on his way.
At the hearing of your name, the woman shouted and said,
at the sound of the name of His Excellency,
the God of Nyesom Wike, let me deliver.
The God of His Excellency.
Safely. The God of Nyesom Wike, let me deliver safely.
The God of His Excellency.
Your Excellency, 3 times the woman mentioned your name.
3 times. Not once, not twice, but 3 times No, these things are spiritual matters. You have to take note of these spiritual laws. They are spiritual principles. Once again, not once, not twice. So that if you call it once and it doesn't work for you, you don't fight anyone. If you call it twice and it doesn't work for you, don't fight either. 3 times is the principle.
Delivered a bouncing baby boy.
And at the 3rd call, guess what? The bouncing baby boy just popped out. It's a miracle. It is a miracle.
Lord, praise the Lord. Your Excellency, that was your name. They came this morning and they say they want to name the boy in your name. I said no.
Absolutely. I mean, what other name could that boy possibly bear after the miracle of the call of His Excellency's name?
No, don't do that until I hear the confirmation of Your Excellency. Your Excellency, make a...
I do wonder really what His Excellency's statement or response to that was. I really do wonder however, if His Excellency gave the permission for the baby to be named after him or not. But however, the point is very clear here, and I'm not the one that's making the point. The Deputy Speaker of the River State House of Assembly is the one who made the point. I'm only helping him to pass the message. Call, and we can, the rest of us as well, can call on this name to help us resolve some of the more lingering issues and crises that we're having to deal with in River State and in the country as well. For example, how long have we had the fuel situation right now lingering? Petrol still selling for above or about 300 naira in River State. I wonder why we haven't called on this name yet to help resolve this and some of the other issues that are plaguing. But it's a miracle, and remember the principle, you have to call it 3 times. 3 times. The 3rd time is a charm, apparently. 3rd time is a charm. So I suspect strongly that will be it for today's side comment. I think that's it. Is that it? I suspect that's it for today's side comments. So I go for a break. When I return, today's run comes up. Do please stay with us.
You are tuned in to 92.3.
Welcome back. It is Hard Factor Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio, and I'd like to rant for just a bit. We got 60 minutes to go before 4 p.m. But before I get to today's rant, put up my side comment just a while ago, actually just a few minutes ago, about the woman who put to bed after calling the River State Governor's name. The cable narrated, or the cable's account of that story is that the Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly and Edison here is the one who made the comments, but I just recently came across another version as published by Tribune saying that it was a monarch who actually made the statement. Okay, so once again, the version from the Tribune says it was a monarch who made the statement. I will check on this later on to confirm who actually made the statement, but there's no doubt that somebody did make this statement. These are actual statements, and this event actually did happen, but there are conflicting reports as to who precisely made the comment, whether it's a member of the House of Assembly in River State or a monarch in that community. So Tribune says it's a monarch. We'll look into that. And that said, welcome once again. I'd like to rant. Got a little time to go. I'd like to rant. I've got something on my mind. We'll be expressing some thoughts on that. You're very welcome to express your thoughts and mine all the way till 4 p.m. Now, today's rant centers on the issue with the petrol situation. For a couple of weeks, if not a couple of months right now, there's been a scarcity. It started with major cities in the country, Abuja, Lagos, Port Harcourt, a couple other places as well, suffered severe scarcity of the product. And when it became somewhat available, it was sold at astronomically high prices, significantly higher than the amount, than the official pump price, that is, which is, I think, 160 or 80 or something like that, 5 naira per litre. By the way, recently it was sold in Rivers State for about 500 naira. In some places, reportedly even more. According to sources, even the black markets went for as high as 700-800 naira or even higher, depends on some places, locality, or even at the time at which you are making the purchase as well. Now, there have been lots of attempts to calm Nigerians and inform that all is well, the situation will be resolved soon. The various associations and unions in the industry, Pangasan, Nupang, all of them saying, it's going to be resolved soon. We're working on it. It's going to be fine. The DSS as well recently held a meeting reportedly with NNPC Limited, marketers as well, and insisted that this will be resolved soon. Even gave them a 48-hour ultimatum to resolve the situation. Remember, the NNPC Limited GMD, Mele Kyari, was in Port Harcourt recently as well, where he also stated that there is no problem, actually, that there is no scarcity at the depots. His words precisely, no scarcity at the depots. It was simply distribution logistics based on pricing differentials and the rest of that. And so basically the point is there have been several attempts to calm the nerves of Nigerians, to comfort them, into believing that this situation is going to be resolved soon, and petrol scarcity or the increase in pump price is going to be resolved, and Nigerians all over the country, including here in Port Harcourt and Rivers State, will have easy access to the commodity and at the official pump price. So you can imagine my consternation when earlier today I came across this headline from the Punch newspaper. Marketers project 6-month fuel scarcity. That's marketers project 6-month fuel scarcity. Now here's the story. The supply hitches associated with the distribution of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, may persist till June this year. All marketers stated on Wednesday. Nigeria's downstream oil sector has been grappling with cases of incessant petrol scarcity since last year. The sole importer of the commodity, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, has repeatedly complained of the enormous burden of shouldering fuel subsidy for the country. On Monday, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timmy Silva, said NNPC was selling petrol at a loss because of its mandate from the federal government as regards fuel subsidy. Quote, if you are a businessman, look at it from this perspective, that you are now in the business where you are mandated to sell at a loss to the public. That is not an easy job, I must tell you, the minister stated. However, in this case, the government is not a businessman, and the federal government of Nigeria is the one that's subsidizing this. Now back to the story. Last week, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, said the federal government had budgeted about 3.6 trillion naira for fuel subsidy till June 2023. So this businessman that the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Chief Timmy Silva, is referring to, is this businessman not going to be paid this subsidy? Because the Nigerian state, courtesy a decision by the federal government of Nigeria, has already earmarked over 3 trillion naira for subsidy alone this year, also till June. So, if the Nigerian state has already earmarked, supposedly, a sufficient amount to cover subsidy till June, why then will there be a scarcity till June, suggesting very strongly that the commodity may not be readily accessible, and even when it is, the price will still be high and far above the official pump price, even though subsidy is still being paid for it till June. That's a question I wish that the minister or the federal government will give an answer to, really. Now, reacting to the development, oil marketers stated on Wednesday that the fuel supply crisis is in many parts of the country that often leads to fuel scarcity might persist till June, based on the government's plan to end petrol subsidy in that month. So why should it persist till June, considering that as we speak, subsidy is still being paid, and as a matter of fact, we have already put aside or set aside money, or at least earmarked money, in this year's budget for subsidy till June? If we have already planned to pay subsidy till June, why should there be a scarcity till June? And why should the price remain above the official pump price till June if once again we are still paying subsidy on it? I am not an economist, but this doesn't make any economic sense once again, because the reason the pump price of petrol was pegged at that official rate was because the government, the Nigerian state by extension, by implication, is paying subsidy. Now, subsidy has not been removed. Subsidy will not end until June based on this current government's calculations. I don't know what will happen when the next administration comes in by May or thereabouts. But this government says we are going to pay subsidy till June, and it's been budgeted for. Now, if that's the case, why is there a scarcity? And why is it expected that there will still be a scarcity till June? And why June, by the way? Why June specifically? Is there a possibility that what's happening right now is all calculated and orchestrated to simply ensure that Nigerians keep on buying in spite of the subsidy, that marketers profit dishonestly from this situation in anticipation of a removal of subsidy when prices of petrol products will skyrocket because once again subsidy has been removed? Because once again we are still paying subsidy on this. The commodity should be available and should be available at the official pump price, because, and I cannot overstate it or overemphasize this, we are still paying subsidy on petroleum products till June. So why should there be a scarcity, or why should the product be sold above the official pump price till June? It's a question that I hope once again that the authorities will be able to give some answers to. According to the DMD, 0700 923 093, the number 0700. Keep it brief and straight to the point. Also, drop this comment. I will get to them in a moment. And if you're not able to express your thoughts on this now, I will take them later on after the 6 p.m. majorness. But once again, I really cannot fathom why marketers are projecting a scarcity till June when we are paying subsidy till June. Hello, Hard Fact, you're welcome. Please go on. I've got a commercial break coming up shortly. I'll go for that and I'll return in a bit. Hopefully I can take some contributions or responses to today's rant till about 4 o'clock, maybe 1 or 2, hopefully. Stick around, I'll be back in a bit.
Nigeria Info will be right
River
back.
State Internal Revenue
phone here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. We've got about 4 minutes to go before 4 o'clock. Responses to my rant today, let's get it right now. And that has to do with marketers saying that they expect that there will be, marketers project 6 months fuel scarcity till June. By the way, the federal government also has budgeted to pay subsidy till June. So why is it expected that there will be a scarcity till June? Implying once again that we will probably still keep buying petrol for higher or at a higher rate than the official pump price. First, as Walker goes, Nigerians play politics with literally everything. The current administration of the federal government has failed Nigerians to this 0 point. How can a country like Nigeria and the giant of Africa be paying? I've got Brown on the line from GRA. Brown, go ahead, please.
Dayo, good evening.
All right, go on.
Dayo, this statement from independent marketers, whoever, it's very, very mind-blowing. It's astonishing. I think it's something that we have to sit up. Perhaps we are sitting down this time around. We have to get up and say something that is reasonable to federal government. But I don't understand the reason why the subsidy will be paying in order to subsidize the price so that we can buy on the approved price. Yet they are coming to tell us that we will still. It's something that is unimaginable.
Mm.
But I want to understand something.
Yeah.
Maybe you help me and put me through. This subsidy that we are talking about, federal government is talking that they have been paying, and it will pay till June. Who are they paying the subsidy to? I don't know if you know.
Okay, now at the moment, the NNPC, even before it became a private establishment, was the sole importer of PMS into the country. So at that time, the NNPC didn't even like to call it subsidy. They called it under recovery. But it's more or less the same thing. So the subsidy, more or less, was being paid to the NNPC, more or less.
Okay, so does this mean that federal government itself, they have earmarked the subsidy?
Just a moment. Because you budget for something does not mean that you have paid the money already. It means that either you have earmarked the money or you have made plans to raise that money and then make payments for it.
So what is holding the payment being made?
Good question, but I'm not sure that's the real question, actually. I'm not sure it's about holding the payment, but I've run out of time, actually. Temi, sorry about that. Temi, call back in after the 6 p.m. news. We'll do a review of all of these matters, my side comments to this rant, other discussions on the show as well. I hope to hear from you then. But we've got business news coming up shortly. Discussions continue after that. Do please stay with us.
The details.
The stories.
With